out the signals for the Baltimore Colts. Unitas gives to Amici. The Colts are the world champions. Amici scores.
It's amazing, sensational, dramatic, heart-rending, exciting, thrilling finish in the history of college football. California won the big game. 5 seconds left in the game. You believe in miracles? Yes!
This is Phil Steele.
This is Mike Burnham.
This is Wes Durham.
This is Mike Ashley.
Hi, this is Chuck Foreman, number 44 of the Minnesota Vikings.
Woo, mercy, this is handsome Jimmy Vane, the Boogie Woogie Man.
This is Coach Fry with Virginia Tech Football, and you are listening to Big Dog Sports Talk.
Are you ready to rock? Are you ready to roll? Okay, let's do it.
You're in the doghouse with Rick Watson on Big Dog Sports Talk, presented by Pulaski County Sports and Entertainment. Join us in the Family Fencing Studios and chime in on the McClellan Chiropractic chat line. He's keeping cool with help from Little River Heating and Air, but this show is straight fire. And now, the big dog, Rick Watson.
Rick Watson's got the mic, he's the big dog king. Cover sports so sharp, it's a New River thing. Virginia Tech fire, rapid pride too. Every stat, every play, he's bringing it to you. He's got that voice, deep as a valley, breaking it down, no dilly, no dally. Big dog sports talk, feel the bark.
Hey, how's everybody doing? Good morning. We are back in the saddle here live, as you can see there in the middle. That's what I've been doing. What's going on, big dog? Big Al.
He's got the scoop.
Hit us up in the McClellan Chiropractic chat room, also on the Professional Incorporated text line 3910788. There you go. That's the me and the bride a week ago Saturday. And I will say this about the as we end the open there. I will say this about the honeymoon slide. It was outstanding. It was outstanding. How's everybody doing? Good to see you. Good to see you. Good to be back. Good to be back. In some ways, it's good to be back. You know, in some ways. Yeah, we'll get the smattering of applause this morning. Yeah. But, yeah, back here from our Emerald Isle / Heroes Con honeymoon. It was great. Had a great time. Now that we're back, we got a couple days of things to do. We got to get to the courthouse today to make sure everything has been received. Want to thank Eddie Bowen, former police officer, served for over 40 years. He was the man who conducted the ceremony here at the home in the backyard last Saturday, not 2 days ago, but Saturday before the 6th. We just had very close family members, a couple of friends here, and kept it very, very simple second time through. Had a very nice time with everybody who came, and food was great. Shout out to Mission Barbecue. When we were conducting it all, it was, hey, how about Mission Barbecue? Okay. And I remember, it's going to sound weird, my wife saying, how many meats should I get? And, you know, it's Mission Barbecue. So the answer is pretty easy, right? All of them. Get them all. And we did. And it was great. We had a violinist. She was outstanding. And it was a really good time. Really good time. So thanks to all the well wishes. I received so many from people who watched the show last week. He didn't bother me at all. The text line, the professional text line continued to pop. It was awesome. So thank everybody. Tried to keep up with as much stuff as I could. Obviously, I wasn't keeping up with it as closely as I normally do. Congratulations to the Knicks. We have a Knicks fan. I don't know if he's still here today or will come in today, but we have Knicks fan thinking about you. That's great. It's a long time, 53 years. And in great New York fan fashion, they decided to destroy the city. Thanks, T-Bird. Good to see you, brother. Hey, Reggie. It's a really tough week for us without BDST. Thank you, man. Appreciate that. That means a lot. What's up, Chris? Or Shish? I'm sorry, Shish. Hello. Subscribe to us. Big Dog Sports Talk, DAWG. We did have, I was pretty pleased. I ran, not two older shows, but I ran some best of shows last week. And after the rewatches, and people go back through and they watch later, we averaged about over 300 views of shows that had run before each day. So that was really cool. That was a nice surprise. So we are popping. Did I get that right, Sish? Is it? Thank you. I appreciate you. What's up, Hot Rod? Hey, Tar Heels might bring home a College World Series title, huh? I watched a little bit of the end last night, man. You guys were very good. Carolina's peaking at the right time. They look like, to me, they might win that bad boy. West Virginia's had a great season. A great season. But, boy, Carolina, y'all look good, brother. No, thank you, man. Thank you. From Emerald Isles Coast in North Carolina to Route 8 in Reiner, Rick and Ms. Watson are now looking like the world is their oyster. And that's final. See, and Morris writes us a nice poem. BDST is back live and online. Correct. Still a couple more days before I go back to Radford. We got some things we have to get. Yeah, you leave the house for a week. Creed was not happy. My son was here through last Wednesday night. And then we had I wouldn't even call her a pet sitter because, he's a kitty. He's a cat. He did not take very well to that whole thing. He disappeared for like a whole day and a half. But he's back and he's not happy. I've heard about it. Whether we see him today or not, I don't know. Don't know where he went, but he is trying to get back into it a little bit. But, when you leave your homestead for a while, you come back and things are a little disorganized and you have to get things back in order. So, but hey, back here with you this morning. So it's been great. He might be Big Al. I think he didn't, this whole thing of bringing a woman into the house was not something that he approved of. And he's had to begrudgingly accept it. Agreed, Morris. Dude, you outkicked your coverage. Blocked the punt for a touchdown, fumble in the end zone for a safety in the same game. What a feat from one man. Easy, Sish. It's from where I'm from, these United States of America. Where are you from? My favorite country is not a difficult answer. To see the picture, now I'm getting a ton of people saying, can you put the picture back up on the professional door text line? There you go. That's me and her. Just focus on her. That's me out in the backyard with her last Saturday. There you go. Now Janet Watson. Yep, there you go. And she did mine. She said, I said, people are going to want to see the picture. Oh, okay. You're from Turkey. You know what, Sish? This is cool. If you did subscribe and you said you did, you'll be the third. Morris says that's easy, folks. Yeah, I don't blame you. You'll be the third subscriber from Turkey, believe it or not. I don't know how. We have 14 different countries represented. I did check when we were in Emerald Isle just to see. We still have 14 different countries. I need to write them all down. I know we have Ireland, Turkey, India, Germany, There's several Australian folks. There's a few British folks. It's really cool. There's an Indonesian subscriber. I don't know. It's great. It's great. Well, let's get caught up on some business here. Family Fencing, sponsor of our studios, 540-200-8294, familyfencingnrv.com. It's summertime. Time to get your fencing up. Mark Hunley, McClellan Chiropractic. Reach out to Mark, 155 Walters Drive. He's the best chiropractor in the biz, and he sponsors our text line. I mean, you are joking. Okay. No worries, sis. Our chat room, and this is the next week or two. I'm going to get over to Mark, and we're going to film our stuff. It's going to be awesome. Professional Door Travis Williams, sponsor of our text line, 540-391-0788. They're getting ready to start in July, year 39 of their business, and we're going to have some really, really cool announcements in support of that. Thank you, Trev. You're the best. You are the absolute best. Did Brendan Sorsby take over and under on the wedding? I understand he did make a lot of money, Big Al. I do. We got to get into that. That's something I definitely want to get into. NRV Super Bowl, thanks to them. We're going to get into them here soon with our bash, 540-382-5525. The bash will come in July. I got to get with Morris about that. But again, they've been serving the community for over 25 years, 382-5525. I hope people take advantage of their Midnight Madness. Lawson's Mobile Home Supplies, 300 North Franklin Street in Christiansburg. Give James a call, 540-381-8011. He's been doing it since 1997. Top Shelf Apparel with Brandon, who made our T-shirts, 4337 Lee Highway. I guess I have to show those again. We haven't had Vic on in a while, giving us an update. There you go. There's the shirts. If you want one, hit me up on the Professional Door text line or just DM me, whatever is easiest for you. Sundown Electric, the Smith Brothers, great reputation. Nothing but 5-star reviews, satisfied clients all over the land. Down in Elliston, superior craftsmanship, attention, detail, clear communication, honesty, and integrity. Awesome stuff. ReadySetFund.com. That's Bob Christ, BOBCRST11 @gmail. Ready Set Fund is terrific. It's raising money for organizations, school groups, school teams, your church group, your community group. Reach out, talk to Bob, and tell him you heard us talking about it, and get on board with him. We mentioned Professional Door, but I'll mention them again. 39 years coming up. Can't wait to tell you about some of the cool stuff they're going to be offering. Professional commercial garage doors. National Bank, member FDIC, the exclusive banking partner of me and of this program. Thanks to Larry Ramsey and Company. The BDST Fan Question of the Week brought to you by the attorney Ryan Price, 701 West Main Street in Radford, Trust and Estate Planning. You have to help me get back into the flow and get a question here. Little River Heating and Air, 1095 Radford Street in Christiansburg, 540-553-2971. Thanks to Charles Lee. They are the best in the biz at what they do. And we are presented each and every day by Pulaski County Sports and Entertainment. Thanks to Jonathan Sweet and Tim Miller. We'll get caught up with those guys here in the next couple of weeks as well. And I believe that catches us up on everything. I think. What's going on, Brian? Good morning. Good to see you. Thanks, Rodney. Appreciate that. Appreciate that. Yeah, I did. I certainly did. Emerald Isle was awesome. It did not disappoint in any way, shape, or form. We went at a good time, I think, in early June. It had just the right amount of population. It had younger folks. You had boomers. You had Generation Xers. You had some Zers. You had some older folks, you name it. Generation X, a lot of us were there. It was awesome. The place we stayed, it's not really a hotel, it's a resort. I strongly recommend it if you love the beach experience and you're getting a little tired of other beaches that are overpopulated, that aren't very well taken care of, that are more of the hot spot for college releasal or whatever. Emerald Isle was outstanding. I mean, not one negative thing about Emerald Isle. Not one. So many good food places to eat. We had a place called Snappers The first night we had to wait a while for the food because they were shorthanded, but it was outstanding. I had this amazing crab cake sandwich. And then it went to another place, Carib Sea. It was a little more frou-frou, but we had some people that we had met the first night say, if you go there, I know it's going to sound weird, but you need to get the burger. It's kind of got brisket and stuff like that made into it. So I was like, really? He said, yeah, you should get the burger. Trust me. So we get there and, they have all these seafood options. I had just had seafood the night before. And I said, well, we're about ready to order if you want to go ahead and take it, as they were bringing the drinks to the table. I said, we've been told that the burger, and immediately the server was like, yeah, you made the right choice. It's my favorite thing. And it was, I'm not trying to, be hyperbolic here, but it may be the best burger I've ever had. They cook it exactly the way you want it. It had a mixture of brisket, hamburger, and short ribs. It was on a brioche bun. And it was, you know how you go to some of these places and the burgers you're not sure if they're burgers or if they're just like sausage patties, But these things were thick, man. It was delicious. Absolutely delicious. And so the food everywhere we ate was terrific. It was terrific. I'm trying to think where we ate the other night. I've already lost track of where we ate the other night. Oh, we ate, I can't think of the name of the place. It was always packing. It was kind of a more relaxed. It reminded me of a place out in San Diego. Seafood. I got flounder. It was delicious. It was delicious. So it was good. It was good. It was good. So we had a great time. So thanks, everybody. Thanks for understanding I had to have the week off. By the way, right now, the plan this week on Thursday evening, we're going to debut Big Dog Pop on Thursday evening. That is the next plan. And, of course, that means that you will be involved with the program. Well, I don't want that up there. That's not what I wanted. Hang on. I got to get the hang of the studio again here. I'm just, There we go. So Big Dog Pop will hit on Thursday night. And it will be, before the Friday holiday, Juneteenth. I'll have work off, and I figure some people will as well. So we're going to debut it on Thursday, see how that goes, and you will be part of it. You will be part of it. That'll be putting you on the screen, and we're just going to talk about whatever, movies, TV, whatever's on your mind. Music, hence the name Big Dog Pop. Sports, still on the table. We're just going to go on. I'm going to see if Dwight wants to come on, and that's going to be on Thursday. Remind me not to forget. No, we'll be good. We'll be good. So we had Emerald Isle, and then the nerd in me, I always go to Heroes Con. Well, at least the last 2 years. I say always. I've gone the last 2 years. Down in Charlotte. It's an outstanding, it's a comics and collectibles show. You meet a lot of the great all-time writers and editors, and met a lot of great people I've gotten to know. Unbelievable. All right. Well, this has now gotten strange. So Charlotte, is a complete contrast from Emerald Isle. When you go to Emerald Isle, and you're kind of in like a little mini paradise on the coast, and you're back into the city of Charlotte. It's kind of it's an immediate, here we are. But yeah, it was cool though, being down at Heroes Con, and we ate well there too. It's a nice Mexican place there, downtown Charlotte, and really cool pubs, and just had a good time. But we're back. And that's the brief honeymoon review for the marriage. Yes, let's get into Brendan Sorsby a little bit. By the way, Coach Elmo and Todd Grantham going to join us today. I wrote about this in last week's. That's right, I was still working. See Mike Williams, Rodney? I should get a raise, right? I'm sitting there writing the article on my honeymoon. But I felt like I had to because Brendan Sorsby's eligibility was temporarily reinstated last week, as you know, by, of course, a Lubbock judge. The NCAA had initially handed out a permanent ban. He gambled on his own sport. And then, of course, the district judge in Lubbock said that he could get an injunction and overturn the suspension. And we've had this back and forth going on between other schools, the conference not wanting to play, lawsuits being threatened, stupid comments, I think, from the AD at Texas Tech, not understanding the situation. But what right now it means, unless it gets overturned, the judge's order prevents the NCAA for prohibiting Sorsby from playing in 2026. He has to serve a 2-game suspension to start the season, and all these other things. He's got counseling he's got to continue to go to for gambling addiction. He's got to provide compliance reports, things that, aren't nearly enough. The Big Ten held meetings on this topic to say, hey, we're not going to play Texas Tech in anything, in any sports. Nebraska and Georgia had already said that they would not schedule Texas Tech in sports. And if they had them on any of their sports schedules, they were going to eliminate them. Big 12 leadership, member schools, are not happy with all of this. And what this highlights even more is that nobody is running. The inmates are running the asylum. There is no one in charge of college athletics. The NCAA has no oversight in any way, shape, or form. They have no oversight into competitive integrity. There is nobody in charge. Thus, chaos. No one is in charge. We get at Radford all of these compliance updates every month from our compliance director. Now, I don't even read them anymore. I'm just like, what does this matter? There's nobody that can enforce anything. And I don't mean that to be flippant. I just don't understand why we even still pretend like the NCAA has any outreach whatsoever. When it can't even make a ruling as commonsensical as you are banned, you bet on your own sport, you've admitted to it, right? That you have admitted to. You said you made 100 bets before you rolled out of bed in the morning. And yet you whined about being mistreated. And then you found a Lubbock district judge to overturn it because, of course, I'm sure he was a Texas Tech grad. And so the NCAA gets completely overruled by one judge who had a very biased judgment. And I write about that. I wrote about it in the Patriot last week. How in the world can Sorsby, who admitted to those bets, be seriously considered? And I thought about it, and what we have here is what was shrouded falsely forever as amateurism when everybody was making money on it except for the people entertaining us. It dove headfirst into professionalism without any understanding of what that was going, how that was going to reshape the whole industry. and let's call it an industry. College athletics is an industry. It's not under the guise of anything that we grew up with. And the thing about the whole thing, to me, it comes across is nobody really seems to care except for us, the fans. And that's usually the case, which is why we're fans. Everybody complains about the money, yet schools continue to spend it. Athletes, football players in particular, are still making seven figures. We have high school kids that are bragging about making over $500,000 for signing. Money is still coming out. Schools are still posting how much money they have spent when nobody really knows. People continue to report these ridiculous budgets for pay for play and all this crap. There's no truth to any of it because there's no numbers that have to be released. Again, no responsibility. Nobody has to show any accountability. There's no accountability in college athletics except for the reality of each school that actually has issues that are trying to do it right, like Radford, like the smaller schools that are just trying to survive. At Radford, our daily budget is we have to go through and check every day like you do your own bank account after you write a bunch of bills and you're trying to sit there and figure out for the next check. I don't believe anybody really cares. As long as they get theirs, just like in life, right? It's tough to find really good people who actually care about you, or if you have a problem, how many people your circle, who do you feel like you can trust? What's the circle look like right now in college athletics? Who's providing any oversight? I mean, I wrote about this as well. From the time any of us grew up watching sports, when we were yay, we understood that the relationship between gambling, athletes, coaches, whomever, we understand how the relationship between those participants and gambling on the games was completely unacceptable. Pete Rose and Shoeless Joe Jackson are not in the Hall of Fame strictly because of gambling. It was Pete Rose's situation was one of the biggest stories, still is, for the last, 40 years? We have special task forces that have been implemented at every level of college athletics, and the findings have been reported as what we get in the shockingly widespread. We don't have details yet. So they're the folks that are going around checking these smaller conferences, even for betting activity, are blown away by what they're finding. I'm not just bringing, this isn't just me. We're told this. We get the reports. But the bottom line, this is how I concluded my column. There's never been an easier decision than the one that was made by the NCAA to ban Sorsby for life. And unless you're in Lubbock, nobody's going to fight that. One place fought it, and now he's back in. Nothing makes any sense anymore, as I wrote. So again, I have to ask the question, are any of the games we watch legitimate? Or is it all just grand theater at this point by people in control? And I don't know the answer to that question, and it really bothers me as a lifelong sports fan. Thanks, brother. I appreciate that. Good to see you, Chris. Appreciate you, man. Thanks for checking in. We will see you in here, Mr. Lester, when you can get back. I hope things work out well for you, what you're checking on. Miss Chris Lester. Glad he's here. Prometheus? I don't see Prometheus here. And where's Wayne? You think they're mad at me because I left for a week? So again, I asked the question. I've asked this question for the last 6, 7, 8 months, however long we've been on. 10 months? 10 months, I guess now. Coming up on 10 months. Not quite 10 months. Knowing what we know, how can you sit there and freely give your money to any of this? What is your money going to? Who's it going to? All the asks are still there. Hey, Wayne, what's going on? Good to see you. And Wayne, I watched all of your videos. Thanks. You sent me some funny stuff, dude. You did. I didn't I did not watch them. And look, see, Wayne, I made sure I swapped my glass out just for you. More scissors, still severe depression for missing last week's podcast. Give them some time. We're trying as hard as we can where I work to keep the chaos and the madness to where it makes any kind of sense. It makes no sense at the higher level of college athletics. And for me, the Sorsby right now, the way it sits, I still don't believe he's going to be eligible. I hope somebody makes a call that, and how anyone can argue, even in Lubbock. I mean, you're going to get your money back that you paid out to him. Your quarterback situation might not be what you thought it would be for a year, but at the end of the day, who gives a damn? Isn't there supposed to be some integrity? And I always try to put this in, and I always ask people, sometimes you're having an argument, sometimes you're just having a discussion, a differing thing. And then I always say, all right, let me ask you this. Let's reverse the situation and say this was on your plate. How would you respond? And let's look at Virginia Tech and James Franklin. Let's say they had some kid that they just signed. Let's say Ethan Grunkemeyer was found to be heavily involved in gambling, and he was set to be your quarterback for 2026, right? And we're not sure exactly what he paid, but I'm sure he's making upwards of $2.5–3 million. That's kind of what I've heard from people over there. And let's just say this came up. And then there was a ban. And then some judge around the Montgomery County decided to say, no, he can play. He's going to be able to play. Sorry, NCAA. I know he broke the gambling rule, but that's okay. How would that change your acceptance of him being in Blacksburg? Would you accept him coming back? Would your fanship get in the way of common sense? And where were these district judges when Pete Rose got a lifelong ban and Shoeless Joe Jackson got a lifelong ban? I always try to bring it home to people here. How would that, you imagine how that would polarize the community, all the excitement that's around year one of James Franklin? Can you imagine what that would do, that kind of news, what that would do to shake the coffers? What's up, Jeff? Thanks, brother. Appreciate you, man. Just bring it to a local level. Reverse it. What would that make you feel like? Would you trust him to be your quarterback? Would you watch every incompleted pass the same way? Oh, how did he throw that interception? Why did he fumble? Why did he hold the ball that long? See what I'm saying? Then you start to get into these gray areas. And yet you might be someone that spent thousands of dollars on season tickets, or you've given thousands of dollars in donations. This is what the Texas Tech fan base is now facing. Now they all seem to be on board. It's crazy, isn't it? Oh, this is great. He was unjustifiably banned. I mean, how could he be held accountable for, betting on his own sport since he was a freshman at another school and doing it at every stop along the way, with uncovering more and more of the things he did when he was at Cincinnati, by the way. They're now starting to find individual games that look a little suspicious. Imagine that. Exactly what I'm talking about. And Texas Tech, who either didn't do their due diligence or ignored it, decided to give him upwards of $5 to $6 million, whichever report you believe, to be their quarterback in 2026, because this is the same school who was making graphics as they started the playoff last year. Look how much money we spent. And at that point, it was $40 million. Now they're saying it's about $70 million on their 2026 roster alone. And now people are falling all over themselves. Aha, we got him back. Do you want him back? He hasn't taken one snap for your program, and he's mired in this gambling controversy that is destroying college athletics. Folks, you ain't heard nothing yet. There's things that I can't share yet because the official report hasn't been released. We get the internal reports. You are going to just be mind-warped of how much of this is going on. And it's sad, it's pathetic. And no one seems to care or have the power to do anything about it. The latest example, something that is a freaking slam dunk. You gambled on your sport. You likely influenced the outcomes of games. But yet you're allowed to continue to play because one judge who has a local interest has more power than the governing body of one of the largest businesses of any university, college athletic. Let that sink in the next time you're going, how much are we going to donate this year? Well, wait a minute. To what end? Are you just giving money to put in the gambling coffer? To what end? And you know what? None of this is on the coaches. For instance, James Franklin's doing everything he can to turn things around in Blacksburg, right? The way he's built 2 other programs. He has a vision. And I told you this 3 weeks ago in conversations that I've had with college basketball coaches during the season. I always interview the opposing coach as part of our pregame on the Radford Radio Network. And as I do that, we just have a conversation about whatever it might be. I don't like just to go in the interview. If I already know the coach, it's easy. If I don't know the coach, I like to say, hey, this is what I am. And I can't even begin to tell you how many times they go, you know what? It's something we wake up with every day. We can't just manage our roster. We have to think about this aspect specifically beyond NIL/pay for play, beyond whether or not we're going to be able to keep any of these guys after 1 year. We have to wake up every day wondering, did these guys do something? James Franklin's dealing with it. He won't talk about it. Right? Kurt Cignetti's dealing with it. Probably won't talk about it. But Indiana's been drug into this because that's where Sorsby started. So you tell me, everyone tell me your thoughts on all these things. Will we ever get a managing authority for college sports again? I don't think so. I don't know how it's going to happen, Morris. The NCAA is made up of all the schools, right? And they have no authority. That's like saying in your own household, you either own your house or you're trying to get to the point where you own your house outright. You own your property. You have to pay taxes, which still makes no sense to me that it's your land, it's your house, it's your but yet you have to owe taxes on the place. Don't get me started. Explain to me, if you're in your own house and you walk into your house at the end of the day and there's some other dude sitting in your house and he's saying, hey, what's going on? What are you doing here? Well, this is where I live. Well, yeah, you still live here, but let me tell you how things are going to be from now on. That's kind of what college athletics is. I know that's kind of a vague reference or metaphor, but the schools are the NCAA. The NCAA supposedly is in charge, yet they have zero power. Congress has tried to get involved. People scoff at that immediately. Is any of this stuff going to stick? And I want to ask Coach Elmo about it. This whole thing, it's ridiculous. But in a lot of ways, it's the perfect representation for where we are as a society in 2026. It goes beyond even self-awareness. Where's the responsibility? Where's the care of the greater good? College athletics should be one of the most wonderful things we celebrate. And there are going to be people who won't pay any attention to any of this. There are going to be people who will sweep this under the rug and pretend like it's not happening in their backyard, not in their stadium, as long as they keep getting verbal commitments from recruits and keep rising up all this crap. And we know why it's not changing from a financial point of view, because these schools have figured out ways to either enhance their supporters to give more money, or they've got business partnerships, or they've just blatantly lied to us, which I brought this up months ago, and I believe that is the case. I believe we have been lied to about, or certain reserve funds were omitted from these reports. Because they're coming up with this money fairly easily, aren't they? Some of these places are really coming up with this money a lot more easily than they did seemingly 6 months ago to pay for these ever expandingly expensive rosters. Antitrust laws from Congress, Morris writes, maybe that overrules everything else. Exactly. Maybe. Are they going to have any power? And the thing about it, this is what I don't understand. Everybody wants to crap on Congress trying to get involved. At least they're showing they care about the enterprise. I'm not one for political overreach. I don't want government overreach. I don't want somebody dictating constantly how I live my life or coming in and trying to prevent me from doing something. I don't want heavy-handed government crap. I don't want bureaucracies, Congress getting involved. But who else is going to do it? I don't have the answers. I'm just asking the same questions. The universities aren't doing it. The NCAA sure as hell isn't doing it. Who is going to do it? What's it going to take? And when you get overruled on something like this, that 99.9% of the country, if you're a sports fan, other than that little pocket of fans down in Lubbock, are going to go, yeah, he should not be allowed to play again. Yeah, he's done. You think that kid's ever going to sniff professional football? People are going to say, well, he might have to go ahead and be in the supplemental draft. No. You think the NFL is going to go anywhere near him? Where's that self-awareness when that conversation was brought up? Tell you what, let's give it some time. Let Janet and Creed settle in and become friends. Then let them together decide college sports bait. And you know what? We're going to have him on here in just a little bit. But Coach Elmo, I think about something that he said. He said, Rick, the reason nobody's doing anything is they don't want to do anything. And he was talking about the money part of it. And when you see a lack of action, and I found this to be true, and you probably have too in your workplace, in your professional life. When you see a lack of action addressing something that's a major problem, most times that turns out to be an admission of guilt. Or an admission of we didn't do something when we should have. So now if we decide to do something, we don't want those questions proposed to us. Coach Elmo said, nobody wants it to change. I believe that these schools, because we know at Radford, the communication from that aspect, I will say this, as bad as it is with the NCAA, the group, the task forces that are assigned to gambling are very good about getting you in the know. Of course, it's an independent agency or multiple independent agencies, but they do the best job that they can be. You know why? Because they take it seriously. That's why they were hired. They understand what this means, the precedent that it sets. I mean, this is the problem. Let's just go look at perception is reality, they say. Thank you, everybody. I'm getting a ton of text messages. It's great to be back. Our professional door text on. Thank you for the well wishes. Yes, the wedding was great. She's a beautiful girl. It was outstanding. Thank you. And Big Dog Pop will debut Thursday night, by the way. T-Bird, you have a great time. Now, there's a day, my friend. Says he's going to have to watch the show later, taking my grandson fishing today. Yeah, you are. The heck with this thing. You go have a great day. That'll be fun, man. Hey, let us know what all you catch, too. I generally always like it when I hear about people going fishing. I like to know. What'd you catch, man? What'd you get? Morris says, I think Elmo's correct. There's so much money. Everybody's hands are in the cookie jar. Yes, agreed. Look, and I'm not sitting here talking about this pretending I have any answers. I don't. I mean, I'm just a dude. I'm just making observations as a fan, somebody who does work, I guess you could say, in the industry. But not really. Like you. And are you thinking about this enough? This to me is the final straw. You know, you can get frustrated about the money. You can get frustrated about how much kids might be making and demanding, how much, if you do bring a kid in, how much he's going to demand the next year, or he's going to bolt, which is why I don't get excited about recruiting here modern day. It's all about what I'm going to get. As bad as all that is, have and have nots has been the way of not only sports, but it's been the way of society from the time society started, since capitalism began. But this, an industry that openly, at least for now, allowing someone who gambled on his own sport from the time he got into it and likely or allegedly influenced the outcome of games, gets ruled forever ineligible. Good. All right, some sanity. And then a week later, hey, you're playing again. That to me is the final straw. College athletics is dead if that's allowed to happen. If he takes one snap for the Red Raiders, and don't come at me with moral bullshit, Don't come at me about how everybody deserves another chance. No. This isn't like making a mistake or two in life, or if you do break laws and you serve your time, you get rehabilitated. I'm all for you being able to go out and try to get your life going again. That's not what this is. Pete Rose never made it into the Hall of Fame. He's no longer with us because of his gambling. If he'd have come out and admitted it, would it have changed things? Likely not. Julius Joe Jackson, the Black Sox scandal, even though he had the best stats of anybody in the lineup, he was tied to that. He wasn't a very well-educated man, and he probably made some decisions that he didn't understand that, kept him out of baseball for life, or the Baseball Hall of Fame for life. Thank you, Morris. Appreciate that. So this is the final straw. And there are people celebrating this in Lubbock. The administration at Texas Tech, what's the big deal? You look at some of the comments. You think I'm making this up. Look on X at the comments of the AD and the administration at Texas Tech, and then look at everybody else's reaction across the country. I'll tell you this. We could have a star player for Radford basketball averaging 22 points a game. And if we were to find out that he'd been openly wagering on games and involved in gambling of college basketball, I wouldn't want to see him in a Radford uniform the next game. And there's nobody who loves their alma mater as much as I love my alma mater. Hell, I've dedicated my entire professional life to it almost. I wouldn't want to see that kid or call his game. I have to question the next time that he makes a bad pass, or, oh, that's a 12-footer that he always makes. He's a 92% free throw shooter. He missed both ends of a 2-shot foul. I don't want to sit there and be put in that position, right? You're guilty by the things you do. You're guilty by association. And this was the easiest call you could ever get. If anything ever wants to abolish and totally just alleviate the power of the NCAA forever, this is it. You made the right call. You banned him for life, and then you're overruled, and you just have to go, we can't do anything. And how it's gotten to this is anyone's guess. But this is where we are. And I've had people suggest, and I've seen people write about it, and maybe they're right. Maybe this has gone on so long, and there's so many people that are speculating now that maybe this has just been the norm in so many places, right? That's why they're not pushing back on it more than they are. And I said that earlier, didn't I? If you know something is wrong and there's no action directed at correcting that, it's an easy fix. Everybody else in your department or in your job, whatever it might be, can see what it needs to be done. And you still can't fix it, or you don't want to fix it. There should be so much outrage. I don't blame any of these schools at all for saying, we're not going to play those guys. Why would we play them? We don't want to go near it. And it just shows you exactly, Wayne, they got it right twice. And then one judge has more power, a judge that has the bias, than your whole entity. It's unbelievable. Unbelievable. But this is where we are. We're presented every day by Pulaski County Sports Entertainment, thanks to Tim and Jonathan Sweet. The NRV Super Bowl has been serving the community for 25 years. We're going to have our bash there coming up, 382-5525. Little River Heating and Air, 1095 Radford Street in Christiansburg, 540-553-2971. The BDST fan question of the week, the attorney Ryan Price, 701 West Main Street in Radford, trust and estate planning. And I think that's going to be the question. Ultimately, do you believe that Brendan Sorsby will take a snap in 2026? Yes or no? There's the Super Bowl number again, in case you missed it. Lawson's Mobile Home Supply has been doing it since 1997. You can give James a call, 540-381-8011. Sundown Electric, excellent reputation, long list of satisfied clients to attest to superior craftsmanship, attention to detail, clear communication. They are honest, lots of integrity, thanks to the Smith brothers. Bob Christ, CRST11, ReadySetFund.com. It's Bob Christ 11 at Gmail. Just an unbelievable organization. Family Fencing, sponsor of our studio, 540-200-8294. Thanks to them. Thanks to Mr. Green. Mark Hunley, McClellan Chiropractic. Thanks to Mark. We're going to get over there here in the next couple of weeks now that I have a little extra time without sports going on. And Professional Door Incorporated, 38 years in business, residential, commercial garage doors, family owned and operated. 39 years coming up in July, and we have some really cool announcements in conjunction with Travis and what they're going to do. And National Bank member FDIC. My exclusive banking partner. They should be yours, and the show's exclusive banking partner. And there's our gentleman, the coach, Phil Elmassian. Coach, I spent a lot of time talking to you on the honeymoon because I just couldn't get enough of. I missed you too much. I had to talk to
you. Gee, Rick. Want this marriage to last. Come on now.
It was funny too. She'd be like, "Who are you talking to?" And I'd be like, "Coach Elmo," and she'd just go, "Oh, okay, cool, yeah." She just gets it.
I'm the surrogate son, huh?
You are, yeah, exactly. How you been, man?
Doing good. I hope everything's working well. I'm using the computer's camera.
No, it's great.
So everything good?
Yeah, it looks good. It sounds good, man. Sounds good. Yeah,
Perfect.
yeah.
Perfect.
And now you and I are both married to Janet's.
Yeah, that's cool. That's one. I've always told people when I start to forget a lot of things, I say, "Well, concussion syndrome, too much bull in the ring at fair." And actually, it has served me well. So congratulations! What a great picture.
Well, she makes the picture great, not me, but yeah, it is a good picture.
You know what, Rick? I'm going to have to concur with that.
That's no problem.
You're like me. You're a truth teller. I get it. Same thing with me.
I know.
I'm one of the most hated men in Myrtle Beach. When we go out, everybody looks at me and goes, "How in the hell?
How in the hell?" I know.
Recruiting, baby.
Yeah, that's it, baby.
Rick.
Yeah, we did a good job. It's everything I've learned from you, Coach, over the last several
months.
Oh,
shoot. Be careful. You lose your credibility. I told Coach Beamer after his book came out, and someone called me and said, "Hey, you're in his book." And years later, I finally got a chance to read it. And I don't know what chapter it was, but the title was "The Best Hire I Ever Made." So I saw him at the convention one time, and I told him, I said, "Coach, that chapter, you should have conferred with me because all those Coach of the Year trophies, you're going to take them away from you. You're going to lose all your credibility. You make that statement."
Yeah, there you go.
No, I just, sorry for the voice. And
no,
I just got back from Madison, Wisconsin. Got up at 3:00 yesterday morning to catch a flight back. There was a gentleman who was an assistant coach when I was there, Henry Mason, our wide receiver coach. We were great friends. It was like being with someone only for 3 years, but you felt like you knew him for 30, and he and I were off-field friends. We did a lot together, and he had passed away.
Oh, I'm sorry, Coach.
I saw him in October when we had the reunion, the Rose Bowl reunion, and he was in his wheelchair. He had pancreatic cancer, and he was involved in it at that time. Now you wouldn't know it. This guy had the smile that just when he walked in a room, he'd brighten it up. and he was one hell of a coach. And he was, there's a competitive fire under this smile. And he was the wide receiver coach, and I was a defensive back coach. And we would, and he was a great recruiter and a great coach. He signed Chris Chambers, who was like second, third round draft choice, great wide, and Lee Evans.
Great wide receiver.
And Lee Evans. So, because Barry, our recruiting was, you're responsible for your position. If you've got poor players, that's on you. It's not going to be about the staff. It was more positional recruiting than it was.
That's right.
Once you identified it, then you became responsible for your position. So he signs at Wisconsin, which, this is a running football team. And he's got two of the best receivers in the Big Ten coming to Wisconsin. That's how impactful he was. And he's the kind of guy, Rick, he like Brett Bielema was there because he worked for Brett when Brett took over for Barry Alvarez. And then he had some issues, so he got into administration way later on in the years, but he'd stayed in Wisconsin since 1995. He'd been there, employed in the athletic department when he stepped down from coaching because he couldn't do it anymore. But Brett said, he told a story about recruiting. He'd pick him up and he goes, well, where are we going, Coach? And Henry would go, Coach, we're going to the bowling alley. He goes, the bowling alley? He goes, oh, yeah. He goes, that's where everybody hangs out. Everybody. Athletics, anybody and everybody. And, from ninth grade coaches to peewee coaches and you get to find out about all these players from the bowling alley. And he said he'd walk in that bowling alley, and this is in Ohio, in the state of Ohio, somewhere in Ohio. And it was like the mayor had walked in. Everybody knew him. Everybody. So that's the kind of impactful guy he was. One quick story. It was great. It's the sad part. Celebrations of life, and it was a true celebration. There was laughter in the room, and that's the kind of guy he was. And he would bring that personality in staff meetings and on the field. One day, he comes into my office one night, he goes, hey, we're at a dog day, 2-a-days. He goes, we got to liven this thing up. I said, okay, what do you want to do? He goes, let's stage a fight between you and me. Because our one-on-ones he had Chambers and Evans, and I've got Jamar Fletcher and a kid named Mike Eccles. Both became NFL corners. All four of those kids played in the NFL. So during our one-on-ones, that was the matchup. Fletcher had Chambers and Eccles had Lee Evans. And those guys were redshirt freshmen too. My DBs were redshirt freshmen. They're all freshmen, redshirt freshmen, young kids. And there was it was all professional. The competitiveness was off the charts. I've not been around that kind of competitiveness in a drill. And the players and no talking. You didn't hear a word, but man, when that ball was snapped, it was a fight and a half. And all, and there'd be some grabbing and holding on both parts, and there's no officials out there. So, but they were competing. And so it got to the point where there was a little grab and hold, and I said, Coach, Hank, we got to make this natural now. This is going to be, So all of a sudden there was a grab and hold, and I said something, and we never talked on the field. We never addressed anybody's play. We were coaching our own players, and I said something about the receiver holding. Hey, Hank, come on now, let's play within the rules here. And it got into one of those FU finger pointing, chest to chest, pushing and shoving. The kids thought we were in a fight. All those kids were scared to death. I mean, we thought we were going to physically go after it. We will. And the quarterback coach, Jeff Horton, screams to Coach Alvarez, Coach, they're fighting. And then it was over, and we just shook hands and laughed our ass off. Oh, we got it going, though. We picked up the whole practice got picked up. Everybody stopped practice trying to come down and break up the coaches' fight. All staged.
All staged. Well, you know, you got involved in honeymoon week indirectly. I told you the story. So we're sitting there in the resort. It was awesome. And we're heading to the beach the first day. And I'm coming off the beach because I had to hit the restaurant. I needed to get out of the sun a little bit. And I'm walking toward the little cabana, and I see a dude sitting there, and he's got a Wisconsin hat on. And I told you this story. You know, I'm like, the Badgers fan. He goes, "Oh yeah, man, I'm a grad. We got season tickets." I said, "Oh, okay. Well, I do a little show, blah blah blah, you know, and all that." And I said, "Let me ask you this: have you heard the name Coach Elmassian, Phil Elmassian?" "Coach Elmo," he said, and I said, "Yeah, he's on my show." He said, "Are you kidding me?" I said, No. So I showed him some of your clips on the show. He said he was going to subscribe. I don't know. His name was Pete something. I don't know. But I said, here, I can't even walk to the bathroom without Coach Elmo coming into my life. I was just like, it's a true story. It was great.
Yeah, that's crazy.
It was great.
Well, one time, Janet, we went down to Key West for the first time. I'd never been to Key West. And so I said, well, it was only a 4-hour drive from where we were staying for. So I said, let's go. So we were down there. And as we're driving, she'd been down there numerous times. That was one of my bucket lists to go to Key West. I've always been fascinated by Key West.
Me too.
And I'm glad I did. It was a great time. But as we're going down there, she tells me, she's been down there enough. She goes, someone's going to know you down here. I go, no way. Absolutely no way. So there's a bar called Hog's Breath. And it's a really popular restaurant bar type thing. And I had one of those drinks, and I'm walking out there, and it about hit my ass now. I mean, but I'm coming out, and all of a sudden I hear this, "Hey, Coach Elmo."
See?
In Key West.
You're everywhere.
It was one of our former Ferrum players. One of my former Ferrum players was down there. I said, this is crazy, this place. So if you ever go down to Key West, you're going to know somebody. Someone's going to know you.
Well, here I am in, Emerald Isle, the coast of Carolina. Oh, Coach Elmo, yeah, he was great. Yeah, he brought up Jamar Fletcher. It was great. It was great.
Oh, yeah, cool. Yeah, I'll tell you, Wisconsin was a special place, special time. We won 2 Big Ten championships, 2 Rose Bowls, won both of them. First time in the history of the Big Ten to ever win back-to-back Rose Bowls. Barry was 3-0 in Rose Bowls in the 90s.
Crazy.
Ohio State hadn't been there in like 10 or 15 years. And Wisconsin's going 3 times in the 90s.
Does he get enough credit? Does Barry Alvarez get enough credit for the excellent coach that he was?
Yes and no. It's, I can name those guys. Don Nalen, West Virginia. George Walsh, Virginia. Joe Tiller at Purdue. Barry Alvarez at Wisconsin. You can name those guys that there's many more coaches that I have that do not get enough credit. They get credit. And, Barry, could have run for governor. Barry had the Green Bay Packer job. He literally had the job.
That's right. I remember that.
The second Rose Bowl. But he's, in the state of Wisconsin, and Barry was great. We were talking about this. We were laughing our asses off. And he all of a sudden in the spring, Barry loved his coaches. That's his boys. There was Barry and his boys. And if you were on his staff, he was loyal. If your position wasn't playing well, he'll call you in and tell you to give you a chance to fix it. If it's not fixed, he will fire you. But he'll give you the chance to fix it. He'll tell you what he sees. But I'll tell you, he loved his coaches. He loved his coaches. And that was a great reflection on the team. When you ever watched us play, it was a reflection of him through us to the players. And he always said, hey, leaders, they will follow our lead. We're the leaders. I don't want to hear about we don't have leadership on this team. I don't want to hear it. Because if we don't, that's your fault. You lead, they will follow. That was his mantra. But he'd come in there. I was a workaholic. I'm one of those guys in the spring getting there at 5:30 in the morning, leaving at 10 o'clock at night, even in spring, not even spring practice.
I believe that.
So this is about the basketball time, the Final Four. But still, he'd come in on Fridays. He'd walk down the hall with his bolster his voice. He'd go, boys, we've done enough for the Badgers today. Shut it down. Let's go. And we went bar hopping to Madison. We started out at a place called the Blue Moon, which is right down the street from the football offices. And Barry'd walk in with his boys, and and you can't do that today. Can't do it.
Oh, no.
Too many cameras, But it was great. People would come up to him and stuff and want his autograph, but they left us alone, and we'd be around him. And then he had one of the coaches had to be the designated driver for him. But we would start there and go around the Madison, about 2 or 3 other places. But that was him. That was Barry. And let me tell you, like I said, he and Joe Tiller, I don't know if I've been around, not even Nick or Lou to that matter, that knew their football teams better than those guys. The decisions that they would make during the season on responding to what they're seeing with their players. I've never been around. They were spot on 100%. And that's why both those coaches particularly won more with way less. There wasn't one player on that football team that we beat Ohio State and Michigan for in recruiting. Not one. At both schools, at Purdue and Wisconsin. And one last story, you'll appreciate this one, Rick, and I'll let you go. We'll move on. The stories of the players at Wisconsin are off the charts. Virginia Tech, every place I've been, certain players have certain stories, and they're fascinating. They're motivational. Well, this one kid, we're going in, I think we're coming off the first Rose Bowl. We're going to the second one. And our offensive line was coming back intact. But all of a sudden, I don't know if it was either injury or through academics, we lost a couple of kids. Well, we had a kid named Mark Tausier. Mark Tausier goes, he's done. He's got a graduate year left. He's got a 5th year left, but he's 4 years graduated. I think he played some. I can't really remember. But the O-line coach says, hey, look, we need to move on. Get whatever. So, okay, kid, great. So I don't know if he's going to go to graduate school, get a job or whatever, but he's still there in the summer before the season starts. He's in Madison. He's down on State Street. He's down having brats and beers, drinking. His football season's over, right? Well, we lose these couple of kids. We got the O-line coach because we got to get him back. We got to get him back on the team. And so he sends the GA named Matt Sheldon, our GA, down to State Street to get him out of a bar. Hey, we want you back. The kid.
Well, right.
Yeah. So they drag his ass out of the bar, bring him back. He was our starting, I'm going to say, center guy. Rick, he is in the Green Bay Ring of Fame. This kid ain't
got him back from the bar. I love it.
He has such a great senior year. He is the starting center for the Green Bay Packers for 10 to 12 years. He is in the Green Bay Hall of Fame / Ring of Fame. How about that story?
That's
Rick?
awesome. I love it. You saved his whole career, Coach, by getting him out of the bar.
From the bars to State Street to the Green Bay Packer Hall
to
of
the
Fame.
Ring of Fame of the Packers in Lambeau Field. Wow, that's cool.
It's a 30 for 30, baby. Trust me.
Yeah. Well, you mentioned things that how they've changed, like coaches. They should be able to go out and relax and have some drink or two and just chill. And but now, of course, click.
Oh,
let's get him in trouble.
No, you can't do it.
Speaking of the way things have changed, what in the world's going on when a guy is blatantly guilty of doing something that is supposed to be the biggest no-no in sports, like Brendan Sorsby being reinstated to play the game? What are we doing?
I will tell you what, in my career, I think I've just hit on about everything, just about anything that you could be involved with. In 1996, I'm coaching at Boston College. We played Syracuse with Donovan McNabb, got our butt kicked bad. I took the job. It was a bad job.
Yeah, you said that. Yeah, you mentioned that. Yeah.
Yeah. So all of a sudden, we're playing Pitt on a Thursday night game, and they're a terrible football team, and we should beat them. We're good enough to beat them, and we're playing like crap. Dan Henning comes in at the halftime. I think I've shared this before on the show before, but I'm going to go through the rest of it for what's going on today. That's the relevancy. He comes in at halftime, and he is livid, throws a trash can against the wall, and all of a sudden, the next statement that comes out of his mouth, because the locker room is dead silence. You could hear a pin drop. It's like, it's just scary. So something's going on. All of a sudden, you hear out of Dan's mouth, and I'm tired of these gambling allegations. I turned to my buddy. I go, if this is true, we're done.
Yeah.
We're done. The second half, well, because the starting wide receiver refused to go in the game. He wasn't hurt. Wasn't nothing. He just, I'm sitting next to the receiver coach in the press box, and there's a verbal fight on the phones. Kid won't go in the game. And now when you look back to the BC game, you could see it. You could see, you're going, okay, you don't want the FBI looking at this game tape or the Syracuse game tape. You could see it. I swear to God. So we get back real quick. Next thing you know, Dan's intentions were good. He wants to have a team meeting on Friday.
Right.
Intentions are good. As a team meeting, because apparently somebody approached him like 2 weeks ago of this, because BC on the campus, because of Boston, New York mafia connections, private school, kids with money, it was a campus problem, gambling. Okay. And when it was obviously illegal. Okay. So the bookies and things. And one of the bookies, a student bookie who was mafia involved. They used the students, got involved with the football team, and all of a sudden they're placing bets on anything and everything and putting up their cars and trucks for collateral and stuff. It was unreal. So next thing you know, Rick, it's the team meeting turned into a civil war. There was a civil war. No assistant coaches were in there. He didn't want the assistants in there, but it was finger pointing, guys that were told they were gambling that worked, and guys that were gambling that said they weren't, that denied. It was a civil war. It divided the place up. And then next thing you know, I don't know. I know the state, obviously, the university got involved, the president, the AD, the head football coach, and we'll get to this Texas Tech thing, but here's the deal. The president of the university, the AD, the head football coach, and the state authorities, and I think federal authorities came in. I think the FBI had come in, but basically it was the state of Massachusetts, Commonwealth, that come in and said, we're talking to every player. We got to play Notre Dame the next week. They're not canceling the season, but every player is going to be interviewed starting Sunday. We'll try to get this resolved by Wednesday. And bottom line was, have you bet? One question. And you can't lie to these people.
Right.
You cannot lie to these people, okay? Especially when the federal is involved. And next thing you know, long and the short was, we had 15 kids suspended. You can look this up. I got a 5-page article on this. And there were
15.
more TV. What?
Wow. 15?
There were more. Oh, yeah.
Wow.
12 to 15. There were more TV trucks in that parking lot. But we had to get, as soon as practice was over, there was no sense meeting at night. We'd practice, but we have no idea who's going to be playing. We'd have Monday. It took Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday. By Wednesday, they got it figured out. And next thing you know, we had kids that were showing up after they were interviewed. But we had to get escorted by the campus police to our cars. The parking lot this was national, California, every state. It's live coverage. It was unreal. It was surreal. Well, it suspended 12 kids. And it was, and let me tell you, and what I've learned, and I've coached a young man. I'm not going to tell you where or who, because it's not fair.
Sure.
Alcoholic. It was an alcoholic. And the players told me, and we got him help and whatever. I've been involved in that. And I've always said drug problems. If you got a drug issue on your football team, let me tell you, that's more fixable. If you got a gambling problem on your football team, you talk about a disaster. Because now I'm sitting in the locker room, that kid's making money off of my misery because we're losing, or he's, they didn't get anybody that was throwing a game. They never got it. They never got that. But when I look at the film,
Yeah.
I'm just telling you. And I went my first team meeting defensively. I walked in there and I told them, I said, I don't trust not a one of you in this room. I don't. And our coaches don't. And that you're sitting there and there's no way you can trust the guy sitting next to you. No way. I get that.
Oh,
now, from now on,
that's the worst.
It was awful. I'm just telling you, Rick, the ramifications from gambling is way more impactful than anything else you can imagine. I've been there. But my next statement is, here's what I promise you. I will make as concerted an effort as I ever had to go back and let's see if we can earn your trust. And I need the same commitment from everybody else in this room, on the guy next to you and the coaches. And if you can't do it, you got to leave the team. I had 3-4 guys walk out.
Yeah.
Left the team for good. For good. And you know what? I respected those guys because some of those guys, I know one kid, the players accused him of betting, and I know he didn't do it. He was so emotional. He was crying in that meeting room and just FU'd everybody and walked out. And so, listen, this thing here, Rick, it's the tip of the iceberg.
I know. Yeah, I know.
Oh, no. That iceberg is deep and wide down below the surface. These people got no clue what the Pandora's box they opened up, giving these kids what? Time, money, and a vehicle. And when they're all combined, it's a real disaster. But any one of those three, it's not good.
And it's legal, right? And it's legal now to just do it wherever. It's kind of like legalization of marijuana. Like traffic accidents are up 9% across the country. Fatalities are up almost. You know why? I wonder why. So now we have all this gambling issue in college athletics because it's legal, right?
Listen, what gambling is, and you know this, and this is all above my head. I'm going to tell you this. This is way over my head. And I always tell the players, I don't get paid for social work. I'm a football coach. I'll listen to your problems and your issues. I get it. I'm good. We've all been through issues to deal with. But when it's all said and done, you may have some issues I cannot solve for you. It's above my pay grade. Not that I don't want to, but I'm not the professional guy you need to see. And sometimes you got to make decisions on players to say, okay, football is not going to solve your problem. It's going to enhance it. So by letting this kid play football, they think this kid's problem's up. Wait till 10 years from now. Where's Texas Tech going to be for this kid? I'm going to give you a name, Art Schleister.
There you go. I was going to bring up Art Schleister.
Let me give you one name, Rick. This kid's been in and out of jail since Ohio State, since he left Ohio State. I think he's still in jail right now or going back to jail. Gambling, if you ever listen to Dan Patrick on this subject, go back and archive. Dan Patrick had a gambling issue, and he had to seek help.
Yeah, he did. He did.
Yep. He had freely admits it. He knows. And so when he talks about gambling, well, I'm listening.
Absolutely. Yeah.
And all he's talking about is this kid has an addiction. You think he's going to go to a session in 1 week to clean it up?
I know.
Huh? And then let me tell you, the pressures of college football, the college football is not solving his problem. Listen, we're taking this away. No, it's the money, Rick. It's the money.
Yes.
Okay? Because guess what? The NCAA can't do anything. They got no teeth. They're going to get sued. We get all that. But guess what? The university can do something.
That's right. They could have responded the right way, couldn't they?
Because the NCAA doesn't want to spend the money to fight this either. Don't forget that. Because that costs them millions of dollars to fight these cases, to fight it right away, immediately. So what happens now is, the president, just like at Boston College, it was the president, the head football coach, and the athletic director got involved. And so shame on Texas Tech because of what? The money. That big giver, if they got that kid saying he declared he is no longer going to be on this football team as the head coach or the AD or the president, okay? Not the commissioner of the league, but those three people, they can say, I don't want this kid on my football team because he has a problem that money and football cannot solve.
100%.
We're doing what's best interest for this young man for the rest of his life. And guess what? You know, if he's in rehab for 2 years, we'll keep his eligibility and he can come back.
But you show us you want to get better, right? Show us
exactly.
Show us you want to get your life straightened out. Yeah.
Listen, I had a player at Virginia Tech. I'm not going to say his name. When I got there, academically, he started as a freshman for Coach Beamer. He was an academic disaster because I'm not talking about not going to class, giving the academic people just a bunch of crap, bullying the academic people. He was an absolute mess. And after the spring, I get there and I told Coach Beamer, I said, Coach, I cannot have this kid in my meeting. We're trying to turn this program around. Because he was a selfish, 300-pound, every pound of selfishness you could have in your body. It was all about him. Okay. His dad was Air Force, military. So his dad came down, and I sat and talked to him. I said, look, your son has issues that football's not going to be able to solve. He needs to make an investment in himself. My recommendation, this is my recommendation. I can't do this. Take the scholarship away. You take him down to a bank, make him take out a loan and invest in himself. We'll see how many classes he cuts and how much crap he's going to give to the academic people. Dad was all for it. He was all for it. When it was all said and done, Coach didn't want to take the scholarship away. And hey, he's a head football coach. This is not anything against him. You know, these are tough decisions to make. Back in the day, it's not easy. It's easy today. Hey, get in the portal.
Yeah, right. Yeah. You got an escape plan. Just go to the portal. I'm just going to go to the portal.
These are 40 years decisions you're making on players, just like you do when you want them to commit to your university. This is not a 4-year decision. It's a 40-year commitment, a 40-year decision. Well, the same thing when they all of a sudden their decisions they're making is not in their best interest or their families, let alone your football team, whether it's gambling, drugs, whatever. Take the time, figure it out, whether it's assault, whatever, figure it out, get straight, and yeah, we'll take you back. And you can do that today. You can play till you're 26 years old. Just suspend it. Well, the long and the short was we finally booted the kid, and apparently this kid has had major issues in his life, big time. It's not pretty. Brian Steinsby told me, he said, Phil, his life was a mess. But, you know, you're just trying to help the kids. You got to sit there. What's best for this kid? You telling me that going back to Texas Tech and still giving him the money is best for him? In a week, he's been, and you know what, Rick? It's not like it's a one-time thing. He's been doing it for years, every day of his life.
Exactly.
What's the difference between that getting up in the morning and drinking a half a bottle of Jack Daniels? The hell's the difference? He's done it at 3 different schools, and let me tell you, I don't understand it. At Indiana, and he's betting on and here's the sin. This is the sin of the gambling. When you're betting, and this is the thing was at Boston College, when you're betting on your team, win or lose, and you're doing about the points, that's the indictment that splitters a football team. That's the one of those
100%.
I'm the teammate. Those are the FU moments, and it's ugly. And
correct.
And of course we were fired, and deservedly so. But no, it's Indiana, Cincinnati, and Texas Tech. He's doing it at all 3 consistently every day. Oh, yeah.
But he's going to get fixed in a week. Yeah, but a week is all he needed to get rehab.
Right. Sure. How about those ignorant adults? How about those people? Now, listen, just tell me the truth that we can't afford this big donor to pull out. Because he would if you suspended the kid.
That's what it boils down to, isn't it?
Screw you.
That's right.
They can't do it.
Texas Tech's got no power. Yeah. The president, the AD, it's the money.
What's the power, Rick? The money.
It's the money. It's the booster.
The money is the power. Period. And then that's with the courts and everything else, because you can afford to lawyer up. whatever.
And how do his teammates trust him again? How can the head coach go out there and right? It's just.
Let me tell you, don't be surprised if Texas Tech. That's my point of my Boston College experience. Here's the bigger issue. It ain't the Texas Tech players. How about the Indiana players?
Right.
How about the Cincinnati players? And he left. I know. And you know what? This kid's not. I've watched him. He's not an NFL talent.
No, he's not.
This thing's going to crash and burn. It's going to crash and burn. And
yes,
this is just.
Is.
You think there's just one kid? It's just like the Myrtle. Listen. During the summer, the Myrtle Beach Chamber of Commerce, you don't hear half the issues that happen in this place. And so now the NCAA particularly, or everybody else, there's not, I'll guarantee you every program they have a gambling issue with a player. Every one of them.
100%.
I'll guarantee you.
At least one. Probably a whole section of players, to be honest.
Because it already shut. Remember Iowa State. And then what happens when they go back? That the kid from Iowa State or all the people that were caught for gambling. Well, they were suspended.
Right.
Well, what are you going to?
And then they're allowed back in.
Them? Yeah. So
right.
it's a mess. It's the power of the money and the power of the courts. That's what it's come down to, Rick. And not good. Football's not solving this kid's problem.
Right.
I promise you.
Right.
It's an addiction. So,
and you hit it on the head, Coach. It's like people try to say, well, and I've heard people, it's almost like a rationalization. Like, well, it doesn't mean he's throwing games, but he's keeping games. But it's like, that's not the answer. That's not a rationale. What do you, right?
Listen,
it's the
drugs, gambling, alcohol. These are addictions. I had when I chewed tobacco. It's like, what's the thing? When you get it for free, that's when they hook you.
Well,
I'm there.
That's right.
And the distributors are coming by and they're leaving these big boxes of Levi Dare, and all of a sudden, the practice turns into the afternoon after lunch and then the morning. And the next thing you know, they got you hooked. And I was hooked. I did it for 18 years. And you know why I quit? When I had a deal with the player at Virginia who was an alcoholic. I have an addiction. He has an addiction. He was a great, smart, brilliant kid. AB student. Was a walk-on, started for us at UVA. Loved the kid. Players loved him. Players came to me. Friday before the Clemson game, he came to practice. He was drunk. And we suspended him. I said, no, you can't. We told him, you got to fix your issue. And he got, what I've heard, he's cured. But this is an addiction. And that's when I stopped quitting chewing tobacco. I can't be a hypocrite sitting there chewing tobacco with my addiction, telling him that that's fact.
Well, that's right. Because you have self-awareness, Coach. That's why you were so great. You have self-awareness. You understand. You can't just talk something and not live it. And their first reaction, and their first reaction has been in this defensive mode. They haven't even.
Well, it's called justifying. They're not defending, Rick. They're justifying what?
Right.
The money.
The money. Yeah.
That's true. Money. You think mom and dad want him suspended and the money stopped? You think his agent wants the money stopped? Huh? And the attorneys, they do it for free? You think the attorney defending him is doing it for free?
It all comes down to money.
So it comes down to the judge, and don't get mad at the judge. Because I still think the school president, the AD, and the head football coach can go, we have a problem.
Exactly. Why didn't anyone stand up and go, yeah, let's do what's right for the kid first and foremost? Nobody did that. Not one person there at that school did that.
See, that was my whole thing in coaching. I've had to make some I made some tough decisions on players where my whole thing was what's in his best interest 10 years from now. Just like you do when you go into that home and ask for a commitment, You're not making a 4-year commitment. It's a 40-year decision / commitment you're making, and it is. This decision outside of who you're going to marry, what religion you're going to ascribe to, will be the biggest. Will be in the it's not number one, but it's going to be in those top 3. That'll affect your life forever. And next thing you know, the kid comes to campus. He gets hooked on gambling, and now because it's legal, and he's got the means to do it.
Yeah, lots of means.
Excuse me.
You're right. It's like that's a great point. It's like telling an alcoholic in your family, "Hey, look, I'm going to leave the liquor cabinet unlocked.
Yeah,
but we're going to trust that you're."
Yeah, I got an alcoholic in my family, and I'm going to stock that liquor cabinet. Going to be stocked and it's unlocked. Have at it.
And that's what this is, right? Here's your money. Yeah.
So all they're doing is contribute. Yeah. Now this kid can go on win a national championship and turn out to be the next governor of Texas. Who the hell knows? But let me tell you what, he has an addiction problem. I'm no authority. I'm no doctor on it. But anybody I know listening to Dan Patrick, when voices get real serious, when he talks about gambling on his show,
he breaks up.
Yeah, it's a whole different conversation.
Yeah,
it's as serious and as impactful than any of the conversations he has on his shows. And I usually listen to it because I do my walking at his time, and I listen every morning. And he's what you're feeling, what I'm feeling. It's the same reaction, same response. Completely. And this is a guy who had the addiction, overcame the addiction. And any of the gamblers will tell you, they're laughing. The gamblers, Las Vegas, they're laughing. They're at the hey. Oh,
great. Yeah. Oh, of course they are.
Let them play.
Yeah, they love it.
Because now, what's going to stop the next kid?
Nothing. Because now precedent's been set. This is a high-profile case at a school that was just in the playoff, and to what end? He's going to go serve his 2-game suspension if this holds up. And what's it going to mean? It's going to be such a circus around whatever game he starts if he does play. What's it going to mean for him? Because you said it. He's got no future after this.
This got nothing to do with. He could be the greatest kid that ever laced up shoes. That you got to love the kid. You want to hug him. You love him. You love being around him. But you know how much do you love him? He's got a problem, Rick. Art Schleister. End of story. That's all I got. 2 words.
Yeah.
Art Schleister. End of story. The problem is this is welcome to college football. No, the NCAA created this crap. They did. They created this crap by NIL and portal rules changes.
And the partnerships with these sites, these casinos and
exactly. And the gambling and whatever. And so it's like, wow. You think an NFL team would touch him?
No. Not even close. And like you said, he's not even good enough to go, but much less if he were. Would anybody draft him? Would anybody even bring him in?
Let me tell you, if he was suspended right now, the NFL won't touch him. Now, maybe after next year, and if he wins a national championship, wins the Heisman, and turns out to be Mendoza or somebody, they'll still take him. But not now.
No.
They won't. And the courts aren't going to. They're not going to sue the NCAA to draft them. That ain't happening.
No.
I could have tried to done that if I wanted to. If I could have. No one's suing the NFL because they didn't draft me. I'm going to
right. Yeah. You can't force any club to take somebody who's blatantly is deeply involved in what is supposedly the biggest no-no in sports, regardless of what level, gambling. Yeah. And yet here it is, freely being allowed. And we can't wait to get him back in Lubbock.
But why is everybody so upset? Why does this surprise everybody?
I'm not. It doesn't
surprise me.
No, it doesn't.
You know what the problem? You know what his problem was? He got caught.
That's
his problem.
Yeah. I see the reports from these committees, these task force. It is when this stuff finally starts becoming more mainstream, when they start releasing this info, you've hit it. The iceberg is not even started.
Deep and wide. deep and wide down below. You got this little tip above the ocean. The rest of it's about 3/4 of it's down below that you can't see.
Yep.
That is a fact.
It's sad. It's very sad.
Sad, but it's the gift that keeps on giving. College football today.
I know. Yeah, fans will ignore it. Too many fans will just ignore this. This is not going to be. Yeah, it doesn't happen here. That's not happening here. That's down at Texas Tech.
And how about all the other conferences? We're not going to play it, or we're not going to get involved in Texas Tech. Oh, guess what? You better clean up your own house because you've got problems in your conference too. Trust
I was going to say, right? Yeah.
Yeah. Don't throw stones in a glass house. And they're pitching boulders, talking about Big Ten with their high integrity up to the, we're never scheduling Texas Tech in any sport.
Yeah.
Bull. You got your own problems.
Exactly.
With your money.
Exactly.
So
Georgia's had what? Georgia's had about 14 or 15 players arrested on felonies over the last 2 or 3 years. And they're sitting there acting like we're this moral high ground.
They're getting their Lamborghinis and they're speeding down the highway.
But we're not going to play Texas Tech because we have integrity here at Georgia.
Yeah, exactly. No, it's
unbelievable.
And that's how powerful, the money givers, that's how powerful they've become.
100%.
Because you're talking millionaire, billionaire money people. Guy that gives whoever gave that $75 million to Virginia Tech.
Who's got more power? Who's got more power at Virginia Tech right now? Him or anybody who still has a job of any authority in Blacksburg?
I've always said this, Rick, when back in the day, the money people, they had obviously influences within the program. The money people influenced the program. Today, the money people influence the players.
That's right.
They impact the players and the program. They never impacted the players. The money people did not impact the players other than, like Syracuse's, Boeheim's buddy, teammate, or roommate giving them $100 after the game was always sitting on his bed. I got that. Okay. And money people, they gave money to the players, but they didn't impact the players because it was illegal.
Right.
Okay. So that was hush hush. Okay. You don't turn me in, I won't turn you in, and let's do this. Okay. But they had a big impact on the program. Huge. Right. You don't fire this guy, that's it. I'm shutting it down. Okay. Now, today, they have their number one impact is to the player. Still a program, but they got hands on the players legally. So, not my problem, Rick. I'm out of this business.
I know you're but you hit it earlier. You noticed on film. So the coaches, I'm guessing, is this accurate to say, Coach, that coaching staffs are probably the first ones to be tipped off? They may not be thinking about it at the time, but when they go back and watch film or see something and they go,
listen, I can't
wait a minute, right?
Yeah. Well, Rick, it's not fair to you bring up a point. I just know my experience at BC, when I go back and watch the Syracuse game and the mistakes that were made. Now they were good. They're going to beat us anyway. But but we had a couple of players that come on. I've seen them in practice do good things. They get in the game, they're doing something that they practice well at. And the Pitt game, there's no doubt in my mind. No doubt in my mind. We had guys that were pulling out of the game or making certain mistakes and are going, I'm going to cover two and this deep half safety. And I go, what the hell is he doing?
There you go. There you go.
Coach, I could not rep that. I couldn't rep that enough to get that result. So there's no doubt in my mind. Wasn't sure of the Syracuse, but I guarantee you the Pitt game. I'll guarantee, because we were a 2-touchdown favorite. They were that bad, and they beat us. And that was a Thursday night. Then we had to go play Notre Dame the next week. We had about 6-7 defensive guys suspended and about 3 or 4 starters. And we're playing the Irish the next week. It was a mess.
Well,
it was a mess.
You're right. That's a way to cover it, isn't it? Blown coverages. Oh, I lost my man. I slipped.
Listen,
yeah. I mean,
I can promise you this, Rick. The Pitt game, I can show it to the FBI. I'm going, no. This isn't going to work. So, but this kid's got a problem. I mean, the thing that kills me, Rick, is Indiana, Cincinnati. It's not just Texas Tech. There were 2 other schools involved, numerous amounts of money, and it wasn't like he did it one time a year, right?
No. Hundreds, he would say, a day at various sports.
Like I said, what's the difference of him getting up in the morning and drinking, or at least twice a week getting up and drinking a half bottle of Jack Daniels? What's the difference?
Right.
Tell me the
You're
difference.
going to destroy your life. Yeah.
Tell me what good gambling, what good. You know what? I had a buddy of mine told me whose dad was a bookie. His dad, he was a bookie, ran book for in Wilmington, Delaware. When I was at East Carolina, and I coached, and I played with this guy, a fair player. His dad's nickname was Pinky, Italian out of Wilmington, Delaware, excuse me. And he's running book for the mob. So we're playing in Florida. I'm in East Carolina. They're number 3 team in the country. We had a great football team. We had great players. And we lost to Florida State by a point. We got Florida now on the deal down there. And he calls me up. He goes, "Hey, you got a chance." I go, "What?" He goes, "You're kidding." He goes, "No, they won't touch you. The books won't touch the game." He told me, he goes, "Hey, it's 16-16 going into the fourth quarter. We're kicking their ass." Ended up losing 24-16. But he goes, "No, you got a chance. Those books won't. These guys know, and they'll hook you. And they'll hook you. And they've got the money to do it now, Rick."
That's right.
Whatever happened to the kids need money to go get a pizza and go to a movie with a date? Whatever happened to that?
Right. Where was that argument? Yeah, where's that gone? Yeah, exactly.
Let's go 1.2 million so they can rent a limo, and bet. And go take someone to the high class estate joint in the, oh no. This is just the tip of the Rick. You mark my words on this, Rick. I don't care if it's 1% or 2% or 0.5%. It's 0.5% or 1% way too much. They're going to get involved in suicidal situations with these kids.
I know.
You mark it down, Rick. Mark it down.
It's going to happen. You're right.
All that goes away, and they're going to get a job of $50,000 a year. And you have 1.2 million, or 2 million, or 4 million, or 3 million, and then it's all gone, and then you got nothing left because the 80% of the NFL players leave bankrupt.
Yeah,
that's what I've been told
by NFL people. Yep.
The mismanagement of the money, the taxes, they got no clue. You're playing in California or New York or Massachusetts, half your salary's gone.
Yeah. Miles Garrett found that out in a hurry. Yeah.
When you go play in California, if I'm in Indianapolis and I'm playing in California, there's a tax because I'm in the state with money. They don't understand. And then all the cockroaches come out to be a part of your entourage, and next thing you know, and your own family's stealing your money. Yeah. That's what happened to Ron Dane.
Yeah, I do remember. Yeah,
I know that. And Barry, to his credit, kept him a part of the program, brought him into the administration part of the program to take care of the kid. Is what he did. What's Texas Tech going to do when this kid's eligibility's up and he's not an NFL player? What are they going to do?
The kid's best interest isn't at their heart. No, it's about what the money it's just about, you said, it's the people that are just blinded by it because they're not affected by it. They don't live in the real world. And so that's our guy. We brought him in. He's going to play. Yeah, I know.
Here's what I believe. If that millionaire that gave all that money to Texas Tech, this is what, and I hate to say this because it's probably not fair and it's really not true, but here's what I'm thinking. My thoughts are, can you imagine if his children had problems?
Right.
His own children had problems? What if that was his own kid? Oh, let's give him more money and get him to play. And that's going to mask the addiction that this kid, he has an addiction. I'm no authority on that, but you do. He's done it so many times in his life.
Yeah.
come on now. I mean, I can go out and have a beer, a couple of glasses of wine. I don't think I'm addicted. I don't think. Maybe. Who the hell knows? I don't think I am.
Maybe. Who knows? Who knows?
But if I know this, if I get up in the morning and do it, I got a problem.
Yeah, I know before I get my clothes on to go brush my teeth and I'm making 100 bets, I may have a problem. Yes.
You think? I mean,
maybe there's a problem there.
I have a rule. I may day drink one time during the year because we're going to see some music band down here in the afternoon, and go have a Bloody Mary. But my rule at 5 o'clock, after 5, that's not before 5 o'clock. If I start doing it before 5, I think I got a problem.
Like when you come to the BDST bash, that may require some date drinking, but that's
well. We could have maybe a beer, but I'll know better. Now, if you have that thing after 5 o'clock, I'm in. Let's go.
You're in. Oh, it'll be evening, baby. We'll make sure.
Coach Norton said the best thing that happened to me is I never did drugs. He goes, "You've done nothing in moderation. If you ever did drugs, you'd be dead in a day."
You wouldn't have
He knew me real well.
Well, it's a good discussion. I wish we didn't have to have that discussion, but it's a very good discussion, Coach. Thanks, man. It's a lot of great insight.
Hey, this is going to be a broken record. This is going to be the first of many, and it's going to go beyond whatever the addictions that people do have in their life, which are really life that just trickling down. When you have a drug addiction, a gambling addiction, it's not about you, the effect it has on the people around you.
Yeah, you're right. You're right.
That's what I see.
No.
Well, buddy, I appreciate you having me on.
Great to see you, Coach, as always, man. I appreciate you, man.
Fun show. I got Todd Grant to send me 3 kids I got to look at.
Oh, good. We got to talk to him. He's involved in this now. He's still coaching, so this will have to come up again.
His perspective would be the best. I mean, I'm so far removed from this, Rick, and it's not fair. I'm just thinking of the life skills that, and the players that I had and the programs I've been in, like the experience with the BC gambling and certain players having certain issues that we got to make, tough decisions. And the problem was, can football help them, or is it going to enhance this problem? And most 100%. Of the time, the pressures of college football enhance the problems.
100%.
They don't solve it. Football's not a problem solver. When you get life skill, when it becomes a life skill, it can create, it can leave, your disciplines. And, when you talk to former players, like when I was at this reunion, former players thanking, "Hey, Coach, appreciate everything you've done. I learned this, I learned that," as they grew and got married and got a job. I get that. But all of a sudden you're in college and you have an addiction in college, and it is numerous. This kid is this and it's tip of the iceberg.
No, it is. It is.
Buddy.
Well, yeah, man.
Appreciate it.
Appreciate you, Coach. We'll talk again this week, I'm sure.
Cool. Bye.
Take care, man. Great stuff from Coach Elmo. Yeah. Morris writes, "I'm mystified, Rick. You and Coach Elmo's wives both named Janet, both beautiful. How is it 2 men can outkick their coverage so much?" I know I did in my case. Coach Elmo's Janet's beautiful too. Yeah, she is. She is. Hey, Chris Lester. Good to see you, brother. Good morning. Good morning. Good to have you back. Got your text message, man. But I hope you got your stuff taken care of. You needed to. Man, I tell you, it's a discussion. I don't want to have this discussion. I hate it. It happened, of course, the weekend going into my marriage and the honeymoon. Okay, sure. People are still asking. They're like, "Hey, can you show the picture again?" All right, yeah, here we go. I think people now want to see Janet is what it is. They don't really care about me. Here you go. Boom. There it is. Yep. Look at that arm. She's very dedicated to her workouts. Yeah, she's yeah. Thanks everybody on the professional door text line. I'm getting a lot of requests for the picture. That was us a week ago Saturday. So we've now it's been 9 days. Today's day 9 of being hitched again. How about that? Who knew? Who knew? But I tell you, you don't want to come back and have to talk about all this stuff. But thanks, Chris. Appreciate you, brother. Appreciate you, man. Well, she is. I don't know about my end of it, Chris, but she definitely is. Yeah, don't. But the Sorsby thing hit, and we're going to have Todd on here. And, he told me, the night that he got suspended, he said, Rick, this is never going to stick. And I thought, how could it not? He knew. He knew. And we're going to talk to him about it. And I hate this stuff, man. I hate that we have to come back. But, we try to tackle all the fun stuff. We try to tackle the things we have to talk. I think it's the most important issue, even beyond the money. It's the most important issue going on right now, especially in college athletics. The whole gambling, the Sorsby thing, it is the tip of the iceberg. Trust me, there's going to be a lot more. I don't know the legalities of the things that the institutions find out, but thank you, Morris. Appreciate that. Yeah, I've been blessed to find this girl in my later life. I have. I've been very blessed. There's no doubt. And usually it's the things when you don't go out necessarily looking for it and you find it and it happens. So yeah, it's been great. It has been great. And it was a fun time. Thanks to Family Fencing, McClellan Chiropractic, Professional Incorporated, sponsor of our text line, Pulaski County Sports Entertainment, the presenting sponsor of this program, Little River Heating and Air, the attorney Ryan Pry, our BDST fan question of the week, National Bank, member FDIC, our exclusive banking partner. Mentioned Professional Door, sponsor of our text line, Ready Set Fund with Bob Chris, Sundown Electric, the NRV Super Bowl, Lawson's Mobile Home Supply, and Top Shelf Apparel. And thanks, everybody. It's been great. I did miss people. I know I was on the honeymoon, but I did. I missed all you folks. Did. Thought about you a lot. I miss seeing this guy's face. Todd Grantham joining us, defensive coordinator UAB. What's up, brother?
Hey, bud. How you doing? How's married life treating you?
Well, it's take two. Now, see, you got it right. You beautiful bride. I should have asked you for advice a long time ago. So take two's going okay so far.
Yeah, I'm pretty lucky, man. I'm pretty lucky. But hey, best of luck to you, bud.
Thanks, man. Well, you guys, I love your relationship that you have. Yeah, that you can just see it from the time. How long has it gone now for you? How long have you been married?
A long time. Ever since I went to Michigan State.
That's what I thought.
When I went to Michigan State, we both went together and been going on since then. So.
Oh, that's awesome. That's awesome. Yep. That's awesome. Well, how have you been? Coach Elmo said you sent him some more guys to look at here for 20 extra recruiting class. That's great.
This is like Groundhog Day, man. Well, at the end of this whole thing, it's going to be 28 straight days in the month of June working, but it's all good. I mean, it's like Groundhog Day. We had recruits in this weekend, and the one good thing about the recruits this weekend is I can't really say the kid's name because I do follow the NCAA rules. And all
yes, you do. Yes, you do.
So, but we had a kid in whose dad actually was on the team when I was in the National Football League, and he played on the team. So we got to rehash memories. It was like a reunion. It was awesome. I love the kid, because you always look at tape on players, right? And obviously you see a skill set, but that's only 1% of it. It's what's the kid made of, what's his motivation and all that. And then a lot of that comes from your parents, you know what I'm saying? And knowing his dad, I mean, that just fired me up. So we sat there and we talked about games and seasons and stuff like that. Then he got me on the phone with some guys I had coached, and not everyone makes enough money in the National Football League that they can just retire. So there were a couple guys that I had when I was at this team that once they got let go, they had to go out and earn their deal, right? Well, one dude has his own business now, owns a lemonade deal. It was really a great story. One guy's trying to invent football equipment and actually had a patent on something. So that was really cool. So it was just a lot of fun talking to him and kind of rehashing with some of the guys and telling stories, from things that were difficult that you kind of got through. So it was really a lot of fun. So I really enjoyed that part of it. And, we're back at it this week. Basically, we'll end up working with our players today. And we got a 7-on-7 tournament on Wednesday. And then we got official visits this weekend, and we'll kind of round it out. And then the coaches go on vacation starting next week. But I'm going to stay just to make sure things get organized, because when the coaches are gone, everything is player led, from that standpoint. And I just want to make sure it gets done right, and we're on the same page with our expectations, our motivation of what we want to do to make sure that, we continue to improve, because I really do think we improve. I think we got the right makeup, the right guys, and we just got to, stay on course and continue to work. So that'll be my plan the next, 2 weeks, and kind of go from there.
Well, I know how excited you are. You're putting all the ingredients in the recipe, and eventually that recipe, you're going to one day taste it and go, that's it right there.
Yeah.
That's coming.
Yeah, we're getting there. We're excited. We're getting there. We're excited.
You're probably as grounded, and you have more common sense of anybody who might be in the sport. I mean, in college coaching. I mean, and you've told me things along the way, and they more than likely happen 99.9% of the time. You said the night. You told me, you sent a text, hey, this Sorsby thing's not going to hold.
Yeah.
Somebody's going to get him back in, and now here it is. And I hate that we have to bring this up, but we just talked about with Coach Elmo. What was your confidence level? Because you proved to be correct again that you said this would never stick, that he would be suspended for this, even though it's the most egregious thing supposedly you could do in sports. So
So the only thing I'll say on this situation is one, all right, there's a couple of things. Is number one, it's total lack of respect for rules and authority. Bottom line, okay? You have rules, follow the rules, okay? And then there's a lack of authority of who's in charge, okay? Because basically you're going to go and you're going to find a judge. When you don't like a ruling, you just go find a judge that will make an injunction and you get it cleared. So at the end of the day, for me, it's really just a total lack of respect for rules and authority. And that's really all I'll say on it. And then the other thing is, that's just not the only case. I mean, you can look at the Clemson case that just happened as well. And, what's interesting about that is I know firsthand that there are other kids that were in that similar situation that are not going to be eligible. Okay. And because he has the resources for an attorney, he's eligible. Okay, so you got that situation. So at the end of the day, I think it'll obviously shake things up as we move forward. It's got to, but it's just a lack of respect for rules and authority, and that's just the way it is. So, I'm gonna stay grounded on my what I'm in charge of, and worry about my guys, and continue to develop them and get them going in the right road, and that's what we're going to worry about. So, it is what it is.
Yeah. And you'll know, because coaches know that you'll know something's up long before anybody else picks up on it, right? Because you see it every day. You work with these guys every day.
I'm good with. I mean, I really like our guys, our work ethic, and all that, and we're going to continue to, we're going to continue to work and develop, and it's kind of like one apple spoils the batch too. You know what I'm saying? That whole thing. I mean, there's a lot of good people out there that work their tail off to try to enhance their careers. And it is an investment. Like I heard what Phil was saying, like it's an investment on your life. I mean, just like the guy that came in this weekend, and I was visiting with him, and his son was visiting us. I mean, he made a decision to go to a university, and it's allowed him now to provide for his family, okay, and live a quality life. And that's really what you're trying to do. And I really try to sell that when I'm talking to kids. And I still use the education piece and the creating value piece, because you are trying to create value for players, both academically, athletically, and socially. You got to be able to go out and interact with people. You got to go out and support your family. And you got to be able to do those things outside of football. Okay. Now, I can tell you that from a developmental standpoint, there's nowhere in the country you can go better than get developed than here. Okay. That's just a fact. Okay. And we'll sell guys on that from that standpoint. And, the thing of it is it is a 40-year investment, because the hard thing is the path, or sometimes things need to be hard to make you grow. Okay. Like when you can just pick your ball up and go home or transfer, then I don't know if that allows you to have the kind of toughness you need. Like, to give you an example. Okay. Now I'm not a basketball guy, but I watched the series, right? All you have to do is go watch the last NBA game between the Knicks and the Spurs, and go to the fourth quarter and look at how many times when the ball was on the ground, who was on the ground getting it. when the ball was loose, who was given effort to go get it. Okay. And it ain't even close which team had more grit, which team had more fight in that game, because the trend in every game was the same. It would be the Knicks would be down by double digits, and then they'd come back and win. Now that's a product of three things. One, it could be lack of conditioning, maybe. Could be lack of coaching adjustment. Those teams adjust to you. And then lastly, it could be the player just lack of grit. Okay. And it could be one of those things. It could be a combination of all those things. I personally think it's probably a little bit of all of that.
Yeah.
And you know, but that's how you create value for yourself. If you put your head down, you work, you enhance yourself, you create value, and you're going to have hard times. And if you have those hard times, you got to find ways to get through them, and you got to be a problem solver. You know, the best thing I like about players is players that can become problem solvers, because no play is perfect. No game is ever perfect. So how do you solve the problems you have at hand? So that's really, as an institution and a coach and a university, you're trying to help guys, is you're trying to help them develop themselves in all areas, so that when they are done playing, that they can go support themselves and provide for their family and create an environment that is good for them. And that's your job. Okay. And that's the way I look at it and always looked at it. And I'll continue to look at it that way. And I think the issue now is there's easier paths to go to get where you want to go. Okay. So, you know, people can do it everybody can do it their own way, but we're going to do it that way. And anybody that's associated with me or us is going to create the value, and we're going to help them be productive in their life.
Well, and one of the things, Coach, when you're on, people go, I love when Coach Grantham talks about your mindset about kids. And let's say they're coming to UAB and they have, you know, aspirations maybe just to continue to develop. You're not going to say, well, if you're not going to be committed to us, don't come here. You understand the kids' plight. You just said it. You come here. Yeah. We're going to get you ready, not only to play for us, but if you do develop and you want to move forward, this is the place to be. And I think that's so refreshing. You don't have any bitterness. And I think that comes from the entire organization there. And I hear that all the time from people, how refreshing it is. You really care about the kids, even though you may not have that kid more than one season.
So if you went to the history of me, we've always been very high in tackle for losses, turnovers, those kind of things, which means you got to make a decision, you know, based upon what's in front of you. So I've always looked at coaching kind of like parenting. Okay. And what I mean is when you're a parent of a young kid, you teach them right from wrong, good and bad, and to make decisions. Okay. Well, as they go to grow up, okay, they go out on their own. High school, hey, but you got to be in by 11. So they're out by themselves. So when they're out by themselves, they got to make decisions on their own. Right, wrong, good, bad. Do we do this or don't do this? And that comes from the things as a parent you've instilled in them, okay, right, or the people around them, okay, and they got to make those choices. So I look at coaching the same way. Like, I can't play, man. I wish I could play, but I ain't on the field with you. So what I got to do is give you parameters within a call to let you make a play, okay? And a lot of times, to me, that ends up being more of a relationship thing with the players, meaning, oh, I thought you had the C gap, but hey, you went to the B gap. Well, that's because I felt the leverage of the block, and there's the ball. Or hey, man, you ended up making a drive on the route. Well, I knew the stem was going to be an inside cut. Okay, so all of those things are preparations, but you have to give the players freedom to make plays. That doesn't mean you're undisciplined. In fact, that means you're more disciplined than most, because you know the call, you know what your parameters are, and you got the freedom to make a play relative to the call based upon the information you have. And a lot of times, like when that does happen, it is a relationship thing. Like I might say, you know, why'd you do that? And you got to look at it through the player's eyes too sometimes. And I've actually adjusted maybe what I say or how we do something based upon the information the player gives me, because maybe I want it that way or I didn't want it that way. You know what I'm saying? So I think the biggest thing in coaching is you have a system. But at the same time, when you're coaching players, you got to give them the freedom to make plays. And that doesn't mean they're indisciplined. That means that within the parameters of the call, you know, tackle the guy at the ball. I mean, that's the object, tackle the guy at the ball, right? We want the ball back. Okay. So, I mean, that's how I coach guys. And, there's a respect factor and a relationship factor that goes with that. And I think that's a little bit more in depth than most coaching, because everybody's a systematic, like, this is our system. Well, systems are great, but players make plays. And so how do I allow this player to make plays relative to his strengths and liabilities? And that's the way I've always coached. I'll continue to do it that way.
And you have that conversation from the get-go, right? So that immediately helps create that trust between you, the kid, his parent, his handlers, and that kid. Yeah. This coach isn't just telling me a bunch of crap. This coach believes that he's going to treat me this way. I love that.
And then history is the best indicator of the future. I can show if I got a corner, I can show him Jair Alexander. Okay. I can show him the kids I had at Florida. I mean, I can show examples of players that I've had that made plays that way. We had when I was at Louisville, we had the guy that set the NCAA record for interceptions. He had 14 in 1 year, Gerard Holloman. I can show those plays, and I can show how he took the parameters within the call to make a play. And I think the history of things that have happened in the past are the best indicator of the future. And I'll do that for all positions, because at the end of the day, you start playing the game because you love it. And there's a certain amount of pride in there, and you got to keep that going with players. The two things you got to do is still have a love for the game, and you got to find out, what makes a guy tick. You know what I'm saying? Like how do I get an edge on this guy, and how do I create that edge? Because we all play better when we got an edge. Okay, yeah. I coach better. We all have better when we have an edge. So that's what we're trying to instill right now, and I'll continue to do that to let us play the kind of football that fans like to see, per se.
Well, you're getting through this month of June, right? The month of June, I know, is kind of that trigger month to get it behind you and you get ready to go again. So things are going to get amped up. How quickly do things get amped up going again in the conditioning to get ready for August?
So what we did is because of the way we're set up, we had football here now because the coaches are around, and then we still have our workouts. Now that the coaches will go on vacation for recruiting, we'll tick up the conditioning aspect of it just a little bit through the month of July, and back off on the football stuff, and let the players do the player-led stuff, a couple times a week, and handle it that way. And that'll go all the way up until our report date's August 2nd. So they'll get a few days off before, like they'll get some time off around July 5th. They'll get a few days there. I think it's 5 days, and then they'll get a long weekend right before training camp starts August 2nd. And then when it comes back, we're going to be back at it, ready to roll. So, we'll have a plan set up for what they got to do in July. And I think it's good. Like, I think it's good that the players do it themselves. I think it's good that you have player-led practices, player-led meetings and things like that. So that way that they can take the ownership, because the best defenses I ever had were ones that the players had ownership in what we were doing and how we were doing it. And they held each other accountable. The biggest thing is accountability. It still goes back to discipline, accountability, and toughness. And anytime you can get that from within, as opposed to a coach doing it, you're going to be better for it. So I kind of look forward to, the players leading it and being able to let them take ownership in what we're doing.
Hey, Boyd asked a question for you, Coach, on the Professional Door text line. Coach, since you are a defensive coach, when you watch other sports, is that immediately the side of the ball that you turn your attention to? Are you looking at defense, whether it's basketball, baseball, hockey, whatever it might be? Thanks, Boyd.
Not really. I'll be honest with you. I have gotten into playoff hockey. I mean, I do enjoy that. That's a
I do too.
Sport.
Carolina was great.
Yeah, Carolina was awesome. And that one. I mean, the fact they scored 3 goals that one playoff game was awesome. So not really. I mean, I just kind of watch the game. I do look for toughness, effort, those kind of things. Yeah. They kind of stand out. The hardest one is watch is soccer. It's the one that kind of blows my mind. I mean, everybody's yelling. They'll be yelling, hey, for 30 minutes. You ask what the score, and it's 0-0. And then I'll come back 30 minutes later. They'll be yelling, hey, what's the score? 0-0.
Yeah, no one
scored. I mean, like, it's just crazy. The amount of time that's spent on that one. So that one's probably the hardest one for me to watch. But the other ones I end up, watching pretty good.
But to your point about the Knicks, see, I noticed that early in the series too. You're right. They were on the floor. Those guys, Jalen Brunson, those guys, they left it. I mean, they played the game the right way. I love it when teams sell out like they did.
They played the game the right way, and you got to give Brunson credit too. If
I
you just
know,
listen
man.
to him, I mean, that's the kind of guy you want as the leader of the team because people will follow him, and that's what leadership's all about. But it was so obvious that last game, the drive, the grit, the determination. I mean, balls on the ground, and then they just make plays, and then at the end. The only thing I'll say about skill set at the end of the game, when there's less than a minute, there were 3 consecutive free throws missed. The Spurs missed 2, and then the Knicks actually go down, miss 1, make 1, and then that changed the course of the game. But from a skill standpoint, there was actually 3 of the last 4 free throws were missed in the last minute of the game. But just from a competitive standpoint, I want the ball more than you. I mean, it's obvious. And analytics don't see that. Okay, so that's a great example. They're going to give the analytics on what happened. Well, the analytics doesn't see the guys diving for the ball. Okay?
That's right. That's right.
So that's why you got everything. Everything is a percentage based on what you should take in. Just like you have the NFL Combine, and the guys run certain things, like they run well, they test well, whatever. Well, that's a percentage. Just like guys that don't test well. Well, that's just a piece of the puzzle. You need to look at the tape, how they play, how fast they play. Then you got to look at the character of the kid. And that's the biggest thing to me nowadays is what's the makeup? Like when we have guys on campus, like I want the guy that's hungry. I want the guy that's ready to compete. I want the guy that thinks he should be playing. You know what I'm saying? And I don't mean that in a disrespectful way that he's saying I should be playing. I mean, hey, coach me up. Because if you can get guys that you can coach hard and they'll grow, you're going to get a player. So that's the whole secret to that's the secret sauce, per se.
Yeah. Have you been, I mean, I know it's got its place, but have you been surprised to see how analytics has kind of just been accepted by everybody's, we got to go by the certain analytics instead of just like you're saying, the things that don't show up, recognizing what may not attribute to that formula. Right.
Yeah. And I think that it does make you think. Like we have analytics. We actually have a company that we use analytically to tell us decisions. But as a staff, you think about those decisions and they're already made. I mean, like when you watch, like if you watch a game in the fall, you're going to see a guy behind the head coach with a book. Okay. And then when a situation comes up, he's going to tell him what the book says. Right.
Yeah.
So the question is on that is, are they going strictly by the book or are they adjusting it relative to what they think's right? You know what I'm saying? And everything. For example, let's say it says 4th and 1, go for it. What does it say? 4th and 1, go for it. What does it say if your left guard's hurt? Right.
Right.
What does it say if your defense is playing their tail off and they're not moving the ball on them? So, I mean, there's other factors that go into it that you got to account for. I think analytics is good because I think it makes you think. You know what I'm saying? Just like AI, I think AI is good. And I've actually used AI to help us in our preparation as far as, reps and things like that. I've used it, but it's a percentage of what we do. It's not totally AI. It's not totally, these algorithms that people tell you what to do. So I think it should be used, but also makes you think. And then at the end of the day, based upon the feel of the game, the head coach should make the decision.
Well, and it kind of gives a glimpse inside why you've been so successful at the highest levels collegiately and in the NFL. Even though you've done it a long time, you say, okay, here's this new technology. Let's see if it can enhance my approach.
Yeah,
right? So
I mean,
I've never done that.
When I was with the Saints, the analytics guy was on the headset, and we're playing the Patriots, and we're up. I think it was 24-0 in the third quarter. Which, if you're up 24-0 in the third quarter, like it's possessions become a factor, right? And we were right at that 35, 36, like we were right at field goal range, right? And DA's like, hey, what's the analytics say? And the AI got like locked up, like it's 50-50. I go 50-50. Hell, I said, kick the damn field goal. I go, we go up 27-0. I go, they haven't scored on us. We're going to win the game. Like you make it a 4-possession game. Like we're going to win the game. Kick the field goal. So anyway.
I love that. A little common sense in the.
Yeah. I'm like, yeah. So the guy kind of locked up. It was like, hey, it's 50-50. I go 50-50 my ass. Kick the field goal. We're going to go up 27-0. So,
hey, you got a question here in chat. Coach, do you ever use analytics to possibly determine what the opposing team might call to counter what you're doing?
People might be watching this, so they could use that against me. So anyway.
We have no comment at this time.
Yeah, I mean, I'm just saying. So it's kind of like, so think of it this way. You got to know the people you're playing, right? And you can and if you know that someone's an analytics guy, well, then how does that affect how he calls the game? So, you got to understand where they're getting, what's affecting them in how they're calling the game. Okay.
Sure.
And I will say the only time that I think that stuff matters is the first 3 quarters, because the fourth quarter, the score dictates what you're doing offensively. Like the first 3 quarters are the personality of the coordinator and the team. The fourth quarter, the score of the game kind of dictates what the team does. So I think it's always important to try to understand how do they determine how they're going to call the game. Okay. And then that affects how you call the game defensively.
Well, and you mentioned that a little while ago. It was like the fourth quarter of the Saints game. Kick the field goal. Just kick the field goal. Yeah, it's like
middle of the third quarter. Possessions are at a minimum. They're not going to get the ball back 4 times unless they kick an onside kick. Okay, and they'd have to do that multiples. And we got them held to a 0. Like we're kicking their ass. Okay, so like factor that in. Okay, and make it a 4-score game.
One more, Coach. They're giving you a lot of questions now. This is cool, Coach Grantham. I think you may have answered this, Coach, but if our team is able to adjust analytics, or is a team able to adjust analytics mid-game, can they account for the fact that a player is having a horrible game personally?
Well, I think that would be absolutely meaning. So where that would come up most would be in pass protection. Okay, so let's say that your analytics says you got to throw the ball, or analytics says on this play we got to throw the ball, right? But let's say your left tackle can't protect, like the quarterback's getting hit, right? So what are your answers? So I think that gets into what are your answers to allow you to do what you got to do, but you got to help somebody out. Okay. So I think that gets into that, per se. And it could be a combination of, hey, we can't protect, we got to help. So that means a back or a tight end's got to be in. Are we going to slide the protection, to a particular guy? It might be, hey, we can't get open in man coverage. So what are our stacks and bunches that we can rub people and pick people to get guys open? So I think you got to have answers, because like there's certain times, I got to throw it, or I got to run it. So how can I run the ball? How can I run the ball into an 8-man front? Okay. And then how can I throw the ball when I can't protect or I can't get open? So I think you got to have those answers, and then you got to adjust as the game goes along. And I think that's what separates the human side from the analytics side.
I love that. That's great insight. Yeah. That's cool. All right, everybody. Thanks for the questions. Good stuff. Coach, as always, man, great to see you again, man.
Yeah, man. Good seeing you, bud.
Yeah, man. Looking forward to it again next week. And have a great week with the guys, getting things in order, man. It's exciting. Like I said, people are following UAB football, man. It's really cool here in the area. It's really cool.
All right, buddy. Take care. See you.
All right, man.
Bye-bye.
Be good. Good
Bye-bye.
stuff. There you go. Coach Grantham. That's great insight right there now. Come on. Come back from honeymoon, and boy, what great insight. That's great. Good questions, too. Thanks, everybody in the text line. Thanks, everybody here in chat. It's been a very fun and productive first show back. It was good. Good. Yeah, kick the field goal. Just kick the damn field goal. What are we doing? It's 24-0. They haven't gotten across midfield but twice the whole game. Kick the field goal. We'll get ready to go into the fourth quarter. If it's 27-0, we're okay. We're okay. Here, let me have your little book. Let's just kind of put it down here right now. Let him kick the field goal. Good stuff, man. A lot of serious topics and things that you don't want to discuss, but you have to. I think, Coach Grantham, being the fact that he's still active about it, he can't be as, he has to be, I don't want to say guarded, but he's going to say what he can say about that topic. But trust me, it's something that every school is dealing with in their own way. But this whole Sorsby thing it's mind-boggling to me. It's mind-boggling to a lot of people. But let's talk about some good things. And I haven't spent enough time real quick before we head on the Knicks. I didn't watch a lot of NBA this year. I've been really down in the league the last several years. But I did watch them play a lot in these finals, and I was very impressed. I think their coaching was outstanding. Jalen Brunson was a great player at Villanova. He's a great player now. I like the way they play. I mean, they play – I don't want to say throwback. They get thrown around too much. They just play a style. I like hard – I like defensive-minded, just hard-nosed players. And those guys played the game the way I like. And so I wasn't a bit surprised. I mean, think about what they did. They won 3 games on the road in the NBA Finals. They won the clinching game, right, in San Antonio. That blows my mind. Very impressed. Very, very impressed with the Knicks. They won the first 2 there. Let the Spurs get them. They rallied in that 4th game at home. And then you go on the road. That you deserve to be NBA champions. If any team was going to end the 53-year drought, it deserved to be that team. Still mystified in Palm Coast. We have just made Morris we've blown his mind. Rick and Elmo's out covered balls. They're still a roll. So kudos to the Knicks. I know we have Knicks fan. He's not here today, but and Prometheus, he's not here today. We missed him. I hope he's okay. I hope his wife's doing okay. But a good show back. Yeah, the Spurs. I know I said this early to Keon. I don't like their supporting cast at all. Harper could be, he's the cog to that machine. I'm not drinking the Wembyana I'm not drinking the Wemby Kool-Aid like Keon. I don't see him as being this. I've seen better players in the NBA than him. He's very tall. He's 7'5". He's very athletic. Is he going to have the thing that makes great players great as he develops? He's got everything he ever wants. He's a very rich man. He's from a different culture. What will be his determining drive? His greatness and his place in NBA history is going to come down not to his physical capabilities and not to his ungodly, advantages that he has as a basketball player. Is he going to end up does this make him more determined, or is this a setback to him? I'll ask Keon that question. But I know how skilled he is. This isn't me trying to diss him at all. I'm not trying to diss Wemby. I'm just not sold, Ryan. I'm like you. The Knicks don't have one player that has as much physical talent as Wemby. But they have one hell of a team that played to one another's strengths. They were well coached. And also somebody said about the lack of coaching on the Spurs side. They just kind of let the inmates run the asylum. Here, Wemby. We've got Wemby. There's no toughness to that Spurs team. And he has no toughness. All this stuff about him being such a great defensive player. Yeah, if I'm 7'5", I'm protecting the rim too. Okay. I'm 7'5". I've got a pretty good wingspan. We'll see what happens with him. Why don't the Spurs just post him up every time? If he had a sky hook, exactly, he does not. That's why I think Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, to Mike Jones' credit, he created the most dangerous and unbelievable, most unstoppable shot in the history of the game. That's the sky hook. Can he develop into that? Does he want to develop into that? This is what happens today, I think, in the modern age with young players. And I don't believe he's going to fizzle out or anything like that, but will he reach that? I don't know. That team is not put together for him to reach that. And I believe he's been given so much free run so early. What is he, 22, 23? And I understand it. You were the number one guy, the just project, just unbelievable. We hear this every 20 years or so. We'll see if it works out for him in the long run. But kudos to the Knicks and their accomplishments. Yeah, Sean Bradley, got a BYU, right? He was going to be the guy. He's just 20. Oh, there you go. He's just 20. So maybe he'll mature, not even more physically, but also with what he needs to understand what it takes to be a champion. We'll see. The Knicks understood that. They accepted the mission and they accomplishment, thanks to Jalen Brunson. But kudos to them. I don't like the fans responded by tearing up the city. America, baby. But kudos to all the Knicks fans. 53 years is a long time. That's almost as long as I've been on this earth. So, but you've earned it, and they earned it. They were the team that deserved to win that series, no doubt about it. All right, thanks, everybody. Yeah, I thought he was 22. I didn't think he was 20. So he's 22. Thanks, everybody, and I really mean that. Janet, thanks you. I kept sharing with her the amazing messages I got on the Professional Door text line. All of you who sent me special messages here on the show. Being married again is great. She's awesome. And thank you so much. I hope everyone has a great rest of your day. Good way to get started. She and I have a bunch of things we have to get done today. And we'll see you tomorrow here on the Tuesday show. We'll have Marva, Brian Siegler, Mike Burnham here on a Tuesday. Take care, everybody. And don't forget, Thursday evening, Big Dog Pop makes its debut. We'll talk more about that throughout the week, thanks to our sponsors. And we will see you tomorrow.